Hi, everyone, and welcome to WWRPD, the show that asks the question, what would rich people do? We are your hosts. Why don't you introduce yourself first?
I'm Khadijah Gigliotti from the Brass Twig.
And I am Pia Rappaport, founder of Palopia. We had a great response to our first show, mostly from our mothers and mother-in-laws. We debated whether we'd wear the same outfit today, but I knew we wouldn't because I wanted to wear something festive, super holiday-like. There's a big bow on the back.
Vintage snowman earrings.
Very sweet.
Enamel. They're very old.
I like them. Well, that is a perfect segue into our topic today, because we are going to listen. Happy Hanukkah, everyone. Happy Kwanzaa. But today we're going to talk about Christmas. I feel like there's a couple ways you could go with holiday decorations. You can have your nostalgic decor. You could have your perfect sort of color coordinated or themed tree. And then there's a couple of other. So let's talk about nostalgia first. That's my favorite.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because it really just depends on how you relate to Christmas, and people have so many different emotions and experiences tied up with it. We all have these different associations with it. And I'm with you. Nostalgia is my favorite. Like these ones from when we were kids, Time has all the Star Trek and the Star Wars ones, and I have Barbies, and we could do a whole tree in those, from when we were little. There's nothing design oriented about it unless you say, okay, it's nostalgic. We put the lights on, make it look pretty, but there's no big bows or fill in the holes or do it all one color or anything, just because the priority is not design, it's recreating that childhood nostalgic memory.
Yeah, same for me. It's about my childhood, but also recreating that experience for my kids. And I remember my mom would give me and my brother our ornaments, and we got to put our ornaments on the tree, and we both wanted the prime location for our special ornaments, wicker Scandinavian ornaments, which now they sell at IKEA. So my mom has like thousands of them. She's like, IKEA had a new set this year, and she's given me a bunch of them. When we moved into our house, we started getting real trees because I never had a real tree growing up, and I always thought it was like a luxurious thing to have a real tree, and it smells like real tree in the house. And so, yeah, I mean, to me, that's a big question, real or fake. I think if you're going for the perfectly designed tree, you might be more of a faker because you might want a white tree or a pink tree or, something that's shaped, exactly the way you want it.
When I was very young in the 60s, my mother did an all white flock tree with only pink balls on it, like these shiny pink ornaments. And I have the most fondest memories of that. And I actually saved some of those Christmas balls. So they go on my tree that has, like they do the everything bagel. It's the everything tree. Yeah, let's go with the creative because they're not necessarily like over the top, but they're outside the box. And there's something about that.
And they're always fun, and they're always like exciting because they're personal too,
Well, what about the rainbow one or the color coordinated one?
Those are like out of control. I just don't have the restraint.
Yeah.
It seems like one and done, you buy these balls and then that's it. You can't really stray from it. My sister-in-laws they have multiple trees in their house with multiple themes. So they've committed, but when they want a new theme, they just add another tree, which is another option.
And it doesn't feel the same. It feels like it makes it about the design rather than the feeling associated to the tree.
Yeah. I suppose if you had a lot of space and you were going to have some huge holiday party, it would be nice to have a tree in every room. But obviously that shouldn't be happening for anyone this year. So yeah, Tim McGraw and Faith Hill, or Tim McGraw posted on Instagram, my wife's trying to kill me because the tree was as tall as their great room, which you can imagine is like triple height. And he was on a ladder all the way at the top trying to put the ornaments on. And it was really rich.
We had our neighbors I think it was the second year we were here in this house, because our room that we put our tree up in is 20 feet high ceilings. So that year we had like a 16-foot tree, and like it was a lot. I mean, we had enough ornaments to decorate it and everything, and plus we had stairs right by it, so you could actually go up the stairs to decorate it, which was kind of nice. But yeah, it's not something that we would want to do every year, because it felt like, again, for me, I definitely connect to thinking outside the box, but then there's also a part of me that goes, well, I gotta get this back out of the house after you get it in the house, right? It's like just the amount of energy that you want to put into it as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of upkeep.
Which I think brings us to the next one, which is over the top trees.
Yes. Talk to me about over the top trees.
Over the top of candy trees, that they're all white and they have candy all over them. And to me, those are completely over the top. And they just, candy, I want to fall into those.
Is that candy 100 years old? Do they put it on every year? I don't know.
I don't know. I think, again, that's WWRPD. They probably, bag it up and give it out afterwards, or who knows what they do with it.
I love like all the pretty packages under the tree.
Oh, the bows. So when I was little, and again, it's nostalgia, we used to get Christmas presents from my aunt and uncle who lived up in Seattle. We lived in California. And every time the box would come, I would be so excited to open it, because my mother would pull out all these Christmas presents that were wrapped, but they weren't wrapped in traditional red, green, and white paper. They were like fancy paper with foil and pinks and golds, and they just looked really like jewel toned like. And they would put like these velvet green, like moss green bows, and these big gold bows. And my grandfather made all of his bows. So when I was old enough, I had them teach me how to make the bows, and that's one of the things I do now that's my tradition that I carried over in honor of my grandparents.
Yeah. And we would make all these different kind of Swedish ornaments, these like hearts that folded into each other that made like a little heart basket with a handle. And we have lots of those made things. You can really do it well without a lot of money. The first year that we lived in this house, we got our first real tree. I wanted it to look really over the top, but we really didn't have any ornaments. And they had this huge display of faux flowers, each faux flower with a long stem. And I got these huge, like almost not peony look. I don't know. I don't think it was even based on a real flower. I got a whole bunch of them, and then I just shoved them in the tree, and it was like a quinceañera tree, but it was very striking. It was very pretty, and it was probably like $20 total with all those faux flowers. It was like 3 for $1 one, or you can string, popcorn and do something fun and old fashioned for very little money. Like, I think there's, a lot of options. Good tip is to just go after Christmas and buy all the good stuff that you wanted, but it was too expensive.
There's not a right way to do a tree.
I mean, obviously, Christmas means being together as a family, celebrating, enjoying everyone's company. Yeah, this is our Christmas episode. Do we want to talk about our takeaway from this? What's our personal takeaway from this episode?
Yeah, what's your takeaway, Pia?
I asked you first.
So mine is because I was doing research on this. Mine is like the candy tree. Like there's something about that. It's so over the top that I just want to fall into it.
It's very Seussical.
Yeah.
I mean, my thing is just the nostalgia of it, and having these memories from each ornament is really important to me. And you had told me a story about an ornament box, and I always think of that as like a really posh thing to have, like a velvet lined ornament box instead of like some box cardboard box you throw in the basement, like some really nice storage box for your nostalgic ornaments. Anyway, all right, well, happy holidays, everyone.
Yeah, tag us and let us know what your takeaway was.
It's like on Twitter, people will put the hashtag like, do Americans really? And so last week, one of the lists was, do Americans really do this X, Y, and Z for the holidays? And one of them was, why do Americans put everything they own on their Christmas tree? And it was like in their
hold on a second, I'll be right back.
Okay.
Sorry about that. My TV just popped on.
How odd. Poltergeist.
I know. Is that where you were going, the creative ones?
You go where you want to go.
Yeah.
I love ornaments.
Yeah.
Plus, some balls and a couple of ornaments, and you can get balls for pretty inexpensive balls. Stop clanking the ornaments together. My son was crying one night of Hanukkah because we didn't have a gift that night for him. It's 8 nights long. I'm like, how many gifts are we going to give you, Lucas? And I said, Lucas, the joy is giving the gift. You have anything for me? Anything?